Well, welcome in once again, everybody, to another good edition, you know that, of the Best Damn Golf Talk Show podcast in America, known as the 19th Hole Podcast for Golfers. I'm your host, Dennis Silvers, welcoming you in, and please be prepared for another great show because we've got another great guest on for you today. Somebody that if you're playing golf for a while and you're reading golf journalism and articles and books, you're probably very, very familiar with this gentleman. And I've been after him for a while and very, very lucky to get him on the show today. And we hope it's the first of many appearances for this gentleman. The weather here in Las Vegas is getting really good finally. I think we're probably really approaching summertime. It's going to be in the 90s for the foreseeable future. And, you know, we get very hot as hell here in the summer. You know that. But I'm a hot weather guy, so it's no problem getting out, getting a few rays and just getting the bones moving and all of that stuff. So I'm very, very happy about that. Also very happy about an event. I went to a groundbreaking yesterday for a very, very cool thing that is coming to Las Vegas probably at the end of the year. It's a business called Chip Shots. It's a membership thing where you're going to go in, you're going to have 6 or 7 simulators to use to work on your game. They'll have teaching available. They also have a full-blown restaurant, bar, cigar lounge. Very, very, very cool. And Keith, who is the owner, invited me to the grand opening yesterday, putting the shovel in the ground. So I've got a few pictures I'd like to show you right now. There is Ron Futrell from Channel 8 interviewing Keith just before all of the action got going, all of the ceremonial stuff got going. So, you know, Ron's a great guy, known him for a long time. I'm appearing on Channel 8 to do some golf segments, and it was a beautiful day out there. I believe the next one is the crowd. Take a look at this. That is out there. I took a little video. They had a nice turnout out there of some of the investors, some of the people they invited, all golfers, of course, and it was very, very nice. They had some champagne, they had some snacks. There's Keith at the podium, welcoming everybody to the groundbreaking as well. Very, very cool background. That'll give you an idea of what the building is going to look like. And like I said, it's, easy access. They're going to do very, very well because it's a very unique idea. It's great for people that don't belong to a club. This is the actual groundbreaking right here. And I got to tell you, this ground was hard, full of caliche. All of the people that worked for him are shoveling a little bit of dirt, and It was a lot of fun for everybody. So they are underway, and hopefully soon we're going to be advertising. There's a picture of me and Keith right there. He's a great guy, and he's been in business a long time. He's going to open one in Scottsdale as well, and I think he wants to have multiple locations. So we wish him all of the best here in Las Vegas. We're going to help him as much as we can. And he's a really, really good guy. So that was a lot of fun. All right, let me tell you about our special guest, Mr. Jaime Diaz. Jaime has more than 3 decades of experience covering the golf industry. As an example, editor-in-chief of Golf World, senior writer at Golf Digest, as well as appearances on the Golf Channel on Morning Drive and on Golf Central, as well as others. Jaime is a 10-time winner of the Golf Writers Association of America Award. He is also the recipient of the PGA Lifetime Achievement Award in journalism, plus many others recognitions and awards. He is a former golf writer for the New York Times and Sports Illustrated. Jaime has also authored or co-authored a number of top-selling books as well. He's a native of San Francisco, by the way, where I used to live a long time ago. So without further ado, let's bring up our guest, Mr. Jaime Diaz. Jaime, so finally glad to have you on the show. Looking forward to it. I know you're busy, and I appreciate you taking the time, my friend.
My pleasure, Dennis. Looks like it's a nice time to be playing golf in Las Vegas right now.
It is. It is. Finally, because, we've had wind, we've had rain, we've had snow, you name it. It's just been a crazy, crazy spring. Speaking of golf, I know you're busy, so we were talking the other day, and you were letting me know you're not playing nearly enough golf as you'd like to. So how many times a week are you getting out?
I haven't gotten out in a long time. I've been commuting up to Golf Channel most weeks, and for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and no complaint other than it just takes a lot of time with the airports and everything. So when I'm home, tend to catch up on other things. We have a little farm here in North Carolina, so I hit balls there. So I'm keeping my hand in, but I haven't played a lot of golf at all this year.
All right. Well, you're going to have to get out, and I told you you're welcome here to Las Vegas anytime, and we'll go out and we'll definitely beat it around. Let me start off with this, Jaime. What's the number one commonality you think all good golf writers have?
Oh, gosh. Well, I think knowledge and real interest in the game is maybe the best resource. And, the skill of turning a phrase, that's wonderful for any sports writer. I just think having that thing in combination, really organized mind, so that you can, basically capture the story concisely and quickly. That's wonderful, especially for daily guys, and now especially in the internet.
Right.
But I always feel like I've been really lucky to know some of the all-time greats, whether Dan Jenkins or Herbert Warren Wind, and I mean they were really brilliant people and great readers and wonderful writers, but they really, really loved the game, and it infused their interest in every story because they really were doing something that they not only loved the game, but they loved to do, which was convey the game.
Correct.
So I think that love of the game, great interest.
Well, as you know or may not know, I love having all of our top instructors on the show, and I always ask them a similar question, Jaime, and that is, can you really be a good golf teacher, a good golf coach, if you haven't played the game, if you don't have competitive experience? And most of them say, yes, you can. And I assume maybe that's the same thing, Jaime. If a golf writer really doesn't play the game but knows the game, he could be pretty good.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, look at every other sport where you have tremendous writers who, Dave Anderson, won Pulitzer Prize, covered every single sport. I mean, Dave grew up in New York, batting it around, stickball and playing street football, but he never was a great athlete. He loved to play golf. But basically, he just had tremendous insight into people and loved sports and understood sports and was very perceptive about the way people perform in sports. So, yeah, I agree. I talked to instructors a lot over my years. Yeah. They've been some of the greatest sources. Most of them did have a competitive career in some way.
Yeah.
But some guys just had a gift for conveying what they knew about the way the human body works and also psychology of sports.
Right.
So there's different teachers with different skills, and sometimes it depends how they match up with that particular golfer.
Right, absolutely correct. I agree with you. How did you get into journalism in the first place, Jaime? You probably had a lot of roads available to you. I know you played the
really?
game or whatever, but how did you fall into the golf niche, the golf journalism thing?
Well, I didn't have many roads available just because, lack of talent. But I did in school like to read. I did like English, and I really liked sports. And so I just kind of combined, I guess, those interests, and not in any kind of structured way. I just followed where, what gave me a lot of pleasure, a lot of
Right.
joy, was to play and to read about it, and then admire the writers who could really do it in terms of making it come alive on the page. And I did play a little more golf than other sports, and I started reading more golf writing than other sports as well.
Mm-hmm.
And then in school, I kind of gravitated again towards liberal arts in college. Played on the golf team, wasn't any good really, but it was great. 4 years at University of San Francisco, and then I just kind of gravitated towards newspapers, and I was a copy boy. I mean, right, you just start entry level,
Yeah.
and I just felt like, gee, this is something I enjoy doing, and I hope there's a pathway for it. And you got to get lucky to keep getting hired, not hired, but advancing.
Right.
Especially today's world, it's harder and harder. But this was the '70s, and it wasn't a really uh, great economy,
Right.
but a lot of people were going into journalism because of Woodward and Bernstein, and so
Right.
there was more hiring going on at newspapers, and I just got lucky to go with the Oakland Tribune and then the Sacramento Bee, and then big jump to Sports Illustrated.
Yeah. No, that's great. And no matter what you do, you got to have some degree of luck. Same thing with winning a PGA Tour event, as you well know. There are a lot of tour professionals, more so today's crop, if you will, for lack of a better phrase, that in my view probably are pretty hard to interview. They don't like talking a lot. They may be introverted. They get nervous because of the camera for whatever reason. What have you done to kind of get these guys to open up and really give you what you're looking for, trying to get out of them?
Well, a lot of it is just person to person dynamics and chemistry, and some writers are very good at you know uh, breaking through those
Yeah.
initial barriers of whether shyness or resistance to interviewing. I do think it's gotten more difficult to interview the players, partly because there aren't that many long form profiles being done, and that's where you would hang around a lot and sort of gain trust and have the golfer eventually open up to you a little bit more. Now things are mostly in these organized press conferences.
Right.
They're a little impersonal, and I think also golfers have learned that talking a lot about their games, especially if they're stars, sometimes only invites more questions, which can be distractions after a while because they have not necessarily a negative in terms of the journalist asking, but they can associate them with negative things
Right.
as far as doubts about their own game, those kind of things. So everybody's coached up by sports psychologists now. They keep it positive. They're also media coached by agents and others to keep things concise and on the surface. So getting deeper really requires access and really requires being around a lot. And unfortunately, our business has gotten tighter with the economics, so you don't
Yeah.
see as many golf writers on the road as often,
Right.
and so you're not as familiar to the players as you used to be. I'm not saying you can't still do great stories, but
Right.
the system kind of works against it compared to previous decades.
Yeah, absolutely correct. And you see that on television. After a round, they have a press conference and stuff, and a guy will stand up and. Hey Joe, we all know you took a double bogey on number 7. How the hell did you hit it out of bounds? Well, this gets some angst up. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
they don't like talking about that stuff. They want to be positive, correct?
Yes, I think the positivity is emphasized, and it may, from their, I try to look at it from their perspective. What do I have to gain by talking a lot to journalists?
Right.
And because the fact is, many of them are really intelligent, and number two, they're
Yeah.
really truly expert on golf. When they're talking among themselves or among caddies or in off hours, maybe where they're not being interviewed as much and feel they're comfortable, the insights are tremendous. And
Yeah.
that's why I love, for example, the PGA Tour champions, because those guys have accumulated so much wisdom,
Right.
and they're usually not reticent about talking to the press. They've been through those rigors before, and there's no more war. That now
Right.
it's time to kind of appreciate. Hey, we're still getting covered here. I'm 58 years old, and
Right.
talk to me.
Right.
So that's a good chemistry.
Yeah.
But in general, I agree with you that it's it's something now where they don't need us as much. I mean, they're making a lot more money. In the past, media was an important part of their exposure, and it
Yeah.
still is. If they,
Yeah.
but they have their own websites. They're trying to control the message more, and as journalists, you're asking questions that aren't in their control. So there's a little resistance to that.
Yeah, no, that's very well said. Last question before we take our first break, Jaime. Uh,
Hmm.
you know, back in the day, so to speak, we had there was some really great characters, great personalities on tour. Are we ever going to have that on the regular tour, you think? Are guys going to come around that are really do think show business, really do think entertaining the fans, maybe a little bit controversial? We going to see that again?
I think it kind of is at cross purposes with what they're trying to do, which is get in the zone, hit shot after shot, one shot at a time, not be concerned about public image or the way they're projecting, because they want to play the very best golf they can. So I
Right.
don't blame them. A lot of them are very interesting. I wouldn't say totally colorful people, because I think golf can lend itself to
Yeah.
introverted people, but
Yeah.
also it's a solitary sport, and so you end up being kind of a loner to some extent, especially if you're a great player.
Right.
I think most champions they've sacrificed their interpersonal relationships to some extent to be completely consumed by the game. So to expect that person to be a character is asking a lot.
Is asking a
You
lot.
have some natural people just organically are extroverts and great
Yeah.
performers.
Yeah.
I mean, John Daly's a good example. He just, really a lot of fun, a lot of energy around him, and however, a lot of it was distracting to his golf. And I bet if he were coming up now, knowing what he knows, he would be more inward,
Yeah.
because he used energy that probably could have been used for focus and concentration.
Right.
So I feel like, hey, it's golf. I like golf. I love golf. I admire how good they are, and I forgive them for whatever it takes to be that good,
Yeah.
essentially.
Yeah, yeah, well said. I agree with you. All right, Jaime, stand by. We're going to step away, take a short break. We're going to start it off with Florida Golf Life with Alan, and we're going to be back with you shortly. Hang in there. We're right back.
Hello everybody, it's Alan again with Florida Golf Life with another episode of Tricks of the Trade. This actually has been talked about too, about my tee shot that I actually hit off the top tee, which deals with hand-eye coordination. So what I do is I actually take the ball and I hover the club over the ball. But what I'm trying to do is just actually hand-eye coordination to the ball. Kind of like when you're actually hitting on the ground, you want to have eye-hand coordination. Your hips come through and then your arms will follow. Kind of same with this shot, and I'm just going to hit it right off the top tee. And then just eye-hand coordination, hit it. Boom. Another Tricks of the Trade. Love it. Glad you guys are here. Subscribe to FloridaGolfLife.com. We just want to say thank you very much for your time. God bless.
The revolutionary Power to Golf Club requires no swing to hit golf shots from 50 up to 225 yards. That's right, no swing. It's empowering golfers with physical issues to continue enjoying time golfing with friends and family. With just the push of a button, the easy-to-use Power to Golf Club launches shots down the fairway and onto the green. Whether a physical issue or just want to join in on the fun, the Power to Golf Club is for you. Visit online, powergolfclub.com. All right, welcome back, everybody, to more than 19th Hole podcast for golfers. I'm your host, Dennis Overs. Want to thank Alan Van Valkenburg from Florida Golf Life. He does a great job on those trick shots, and he's also a very, very good professional. Back with our special guest, award-winning golf journalist, Jaime Diaz. Jaime, thinking back to date, would you say is the most unusual story you've written?
Oh gosh. I was just going to say, I think the Power 2 golf item you just advertised has a chance. I could see somebody playing around in golf with one of
Oh
those
yeah,
and,
that is the.
shooting.
If you ever saw that in person, it's absolutely terrific. You're doing very well with it, and
That's great.
the owner lives here in Las Vegas at Lake Las Vegas, and like he says, every day he works to get like 6 million elderly or, somewhat physically disabled golfers to get back into the game. And this is a way to do it. And it's terrific. Yeah.
No, it looked almost like a gag, and no, it has a real use. And
It's a real deal.
I wonder if there's some skill involved, and you might see a tournament that way. That'd be an unusual story.
He's
But
planning
there's
on
a
it.
lot. Gosh, I feel so tour centric sometimes that you forget sometimes it's just some of the amazing things that golf does for people in their lives, and some of those things can be uplifting and really unusual to some extent. I mean, gosh, you're catching me a little off guard on that one. I just feel like anytime that golf can sort of transcend a real life-challenging situation and create this oasis of joy where there's none anywhere else in somebody's life, whether it's a blind golfer, a handicapped golfer,
Yeah.
or a golfer with emotional issues. I just feel like it just says so much about the game. And I haven't covered a lot of those stories, but when I have been around them, it's always been really moving. And it just makes you happy that you're involved in golf because golf's the greatest thing for relationships. It's also just one of the great things for, just personal satisfaction.
Yeah.
And anybody can do it, obviously, at any level. But
Right.
I think when those stories, and I can't think of a specific one right now, but I just sort of feel like when people who are on the ropes can use golf to get off the ropes, I love those stories, and there's some really unusual circumstances sometimes when that happens.
Yeah, no, that was very PC, and you certainly squirmed out of that question very well.
wasn't trying to be.
But I'll accept what you're saying.
You'll accept the answer? Okay,
Yeah,
thanks,
I will
Alex.
accept the answer totally.
All right.
Jaime, how do you kind of go about choosing the area of golf that you like to write about? Some writers like to just interview players and write about them. Some writers like to talk about the venue and the amenities maybe that a club has and this type of thing. Some like to talk about equipment and so on and so forth. How does one fall into the niche where they're comfortable writing about a certain aspect of the game?
Well, I guess, it's always, if you're really interested in something, you have a better chance of writing well about it.
Yeah.
So I would just follow my interests. And, I'm mostly on television now, but when I was writing a lot, I would write, and sounds selfish, and maybe too much of a kind of an idolater of athletes, but I'd always want to know what made them good, and talk to them about that, what the process was. And some of it was, well, because I played at avidly, put it that way. I wanted to be better, and the more I played, the more interested I was in writing about golf. So it was, I've always been really fascinated in the very, very best, what made them special. Not that I was ever going to emulate that, but you still just take a lot of knowledge from whatever Jack Nicklaus was doing,
Yeah.
whatever Tiger Woods was doing, whatever Ben Hogan was doing. to be a Gary Player, especially if they're great communicators. Gary Player was a guy who would share a lot of
Oh yeah. Yeah.
his accumulated knowledge about the game. I always felt like I was getting to be a better writer, I was getting to be a better golfer,
Uh-huh.
and I was writing better stories by being associated as much as I could be with talking to great players about greatness, basically, and it's hard to pull out of them sometimes because sometimes they don't know exactly what made them great. Some of it's just a gift,
Right.
but they tend to be pretty analytical, and as they get older, they appreciate their gift more and they're better at explaining it. So my favorite interviews have been with Jack Nicklaus, let's say post 50, or Tiger as he got a little older, and started understanding all the things he had done and maybe what separated him the most.
Right.
Nick Faldo, Gary Player, on and on. I talked to Ben Hogan once. That was a thrill. And I
Oh,
had
wow.
talked to Byron Nelson, Sam Snead, and those guys. I just feel very, very thankful that I had that moment, and I did get something out of it in terms of my accumulated sort of sense of what it takes to be great.
Yeah, no, that is terrific. That is terrific. Just as a side note, and I discussed this with a lot of guests on the show, I have my own views and I have expressed my own opinions. But as far as Tiger, is he done competitively? Because I really do think he is.
Well, I certainly was feeling that watching him, at the Masters, and at the same time, I think he has a shot now to still play. We don't know to what level. And I'm not trying to say these are equal circumstances, but when he had his back problems, it was looking very hopeless. And then he took like a last-ditch sort of Hail Mary operation with the fusion, and it worked. And it allowed him, he wasn't 100% what he had been, but
Right.
he was pretty darn close. And he won the Masters, obviously, and he won the Tour Championship, and he still, to this day, swings the club beautifully with that fused back. So now he's fused his foot. Maybe it's a coincidence that's fusion. The point is, it's gotten rid of pain, or it will get rid of pain. Now it's going to take away from his mobility, and probably his flexibility, and probably some power. But I just feel that if Tiger can control his golf ball, even with a loss of distance, he can still be formidable. I don't expect it though at this level any longer.
Yeah.
What I think is going to happen, and this is just a guess, but I think he's missed the game and he loves the game and he realizes it more than ever. I think he'll want to play on the PGA Tour Champions. And I think one tangible goal in terms of performance, and that is to win the U.S. Senior Open, because that would give him 10 USGA championships total.
Right.
And that would surpass Bobby Jones, who had 9. So
Yeah.
that's a record. He likes collecting records. It would further enhance the idea that he's the greatest. But I really do think that he would enjoy playing out there. And if it requires a cart, he can take it without feeling like he's breaking any
Right.
rules. And, hopefully he can still walk to the same extent. But assuming he can't, the cart might be the answer.
Right.
Because what's funny is you used to hear about Tiger talking about swing changes and how he had to correct this and that all the time. Now, and I'm not just talking about now as not playing, but let's say since he got that back fusion, it's like a given that he hits the ball well.
Yeah.
It's really ironic. He doesn't talk about his golf swing, and it looks natural and easy and like he truly owns it, which was always his goal.
Yeah.
So he has that aspect of it, and I think he'll continue it. We've seen it with players. I remember Tom Watson became a better ball striker as he got older, all the way up till he was 50.
Right.
So that's what I think about Tiger. I think in a way what happened is a hopeful story post this last operation than where he was at the Masters. let's
Yeah.
say.
Well, I guess only time will tell, Jaime. We're going to have to wait and see, but a lot of people will be following it. All right, let's change pass a little bit. You and I talked briefly about the proposed rule change from the USGA and the RNA about bringing the ball back, and a lot of people don't like it. I don't like it. Tour players don't like it. The gallery doesn't like it. Ball makers don't like it. What's your feeling on it, and do you really think it's going to make all that much of a difference?
I like it, Dennis.
You
And
like
the reason
it?
I like it is I like it because, and I'm not accusing you of this, but it sounded in your description of it, it's conveying that misperception that it's going to roll the ball back for everybody. It's not. It's only for a very limited number of players.
Right.
And my conception of the way the tour has evolved is that the golf courses are, or at least the shots they're hitting into the greens, too short. There's just too many wedges.
Yeah.
They're just not using as many middle irons and long irons to hit approaches. The skill level that's required is diminishing.
Yeah.
I don't think today's players are as well rounded as now. They may be better at hitting golf ball far and straight, but as far as the number of shots they have, they're not asked to have that variety anymore. And I think it's made the game a little monotonous. But I think the other thing is it's harder to separate yourself as being the best player when basically everybody's long enough to hit short irons in the greens.
Yep.
And, the real skill, the real separators sometimes are, can you hit long irons on the green? Can you work the ball? Can you do all these things?
Right.
And so you're not seeing the great players separate as easily. So I just happen to feel like the top level of the game would be better with a shorter golf ball. I think you saw it a little at the Masters on 13, where they lengthened the hole.
Right.
And the second shot was more exciting.
Yeah.
It was more challenging.
Yeah.
And it still wasn't overly long. And they were still hitting the green sometimes with 4 and 5 irons.
Yeah.
But it wasn't 9 irons to a par 5. So that's why I when you say the ball manufacturers don't like it, I understand their objection because they're worried about their product and their sales.
Right.
But as far as what's good for the game, I think this is good for the game.
Yeah. No, and a lot of people feel that way. I don't know. Like Tiger, we were talking about Tiger. He's in favor of it, like you. And he said we need to preserve the old courses that play short to begin with. And I guess there's an argument for that, but I just think most golf fans really like to see these guys pump it and hit it off. It's kind of like a Walter Mitty thing.
I understand, but I mean the difference is going to be 15 yards. The average golf fan, nobody's going to be able to tell the difference. It's going to look like a great golf shot. It's going 315 instead of 330.
True.
I mean, golf was awe-inspiring where guys were hitting at 260 when we were younger.
Yeah.
That was a good drive on the PGA Tour in the 60s.
Right.
So distance is relative. And I think, and I'll give you this is kind of a cheap shot because I do admire the long driving guys, the guys who, in the contests, who just hit it on the grid. That can get pretty monotonous. Those things are not exciting until the finals.
I agree with you.
And so just watching guys hit the ball long is not that exciting.
No,
watching them maneuver the ball and control the ball, that's exciting.
And that's what we don't have today for the most part is really shot making like they did years ago, working the ball. All right, Jaime, stay with us. We're going to back off, take another short break, and we come back. We'll finish our show with Mr. Jaime Diaz. Hang in there with us. One of the perks about being in golf media is that I get to try every club ever made. Of course, like most things, some are better than others. I'm here to tell you that I have found unquestionably the absolute best performing set of irons I have ever played, and my scores show it. Let me introduce you to Grindworks, custom fitted irons that are made to fit your game. Grindworks offers players 3 different styles of irons. You can choose muscleback irons, cavity back irons, and even blades, along with some awesome wedges. And when you purchase your clubs, Grindworks lets you choose the type of shaft you want, the type grip you prefer, and even will adjust the loft and lie of your clubs if needed. That's unheard of. So what are you waiting for? Feel the power and experience and performance of these amazing clubs. Simply go to grindworksusa.com or call 281-651-4046 to order. Trust me, your handicap will love you for it.
As golfers, we want instant gratification when it comes to a better golf swing and playing better golf. Impossible, you say? Not anymore. Golf Boost Artificial Intelligence, AI, has developed and patented the most advanced swing analysis technology in golf. Simply, the algorithms detect your body position and then analyze your golf swing using their artificial intelligence technology. The AI captures all the relevant data from your swing video and then presents you a personalized lesson. Golf Boost AI is the ultimate swing analysis and virtual instruction system for golfers of all ages and abilities. This sophisticated software takes into consideration your height and build, playing level, and returns the ideal solution for your swing. Bottom line, Golf Boost AI is an incredibly convenient and cost-effective tool for golfers to improve their swing. Go to golfboost.com and check it out. The app is free to download and try. Visit golfboost.com today.
All right, we're having a great time with Mr. Jaime Diaz, our special guest today. And Jaime, as long as we're talking about a little controversy, let's talk about the Live Tour. A lot of talk about it, there's litigation about it, controversy about it. I think, as I mentioned, mostly by, players that have been playing a long time, traditionalists of the game. They don't like the shorts. They don't like the music. They don't like the 54 holes. They don't like the team aspect, nothing about it. But these guys are making a ton of money. They seem to be playing some pretty good golf. They're going to some really neat venues. And as we talked about it, I know some players that are playing on Live. They made the decision in their best interest. So how could you fault them?
Certainly fault them individually, case by case. My problem with Live is that it's a threat to the PGA Tour in a way that I think, if it were to disrupt it completely, would really throw golf at the highest level into disarray and to chaos. And I don't want to see that. I want to see that continuum, thrive as far as the way that golf has been measured through history. I think that's important. I think that's important in any sport. If there were a threat to the NFL, or if there were a threat to there's mergers that have happened. I understand that, and sometimes that can be active and constructive growth. I don't see the growth coming from any kind of merger with Live, because Live wants to buy golf, basically. I mean, they came with as much money as possible and tried to recruit as many players as they could.
Yeah.
Some took it. Some of the older guys who probably a little past their primes and feel like, this is my last chance to really cash out, took the money. To your point, I don't necessarily fault those particular players. I don't, obviously the money comes from Saudi Arabia. There's a lot of negative criticism, justifiably in many cases, about Saudi Arabia. My biggest problem is that it has the capacity, Live has the capacity to really damage the upper levels of golf that we all follow and want the very best players to thrive in and compete in. So all those things you said, that they play in shorts, they play 54 hole, I have no problem. But if they're trying to buy the players, and the only way to fight that is to shut them down as much as possible, which is what the PGA Tour tried to do by improving their own product and by basically banning guys who went against the release form and played in Live events and they expected to come back to the PGA Tour. I don't fault the PGA Tour for hardball, because this is hardball. This is not an innocent threat. This is not like, let's all just coexist. This is about, hey, we want to take the biggest piece of the pie we possibly can. And the guys who are owning the pie right now going, no, we can't let you do that.
Yeah. Do you foresee a possibility of a way back for some of these guys if they do want to come back to the PGA Tour? And, even, when they fulfill their contract with Live or something, would the PGA Tour maybe make them pay a big fine or give up a percentage of their purse for a while? Do you think there is a possible way back? Would they be accepting to that?
I think that sounds reasonable. There has to be some accountability for the choice they made, because I think if you let people come back freely and just come back and start from where they left off, the players who didn't go, who were certainly tempted and could have taken the money, will be very resentful. So this was a violation, and there should be some in other words, they shouldn't be able to have their cake and eat it too. Let's say DJ, for the sake of argument, 120 million that he got to go. Now can play the PGA Tour, and he's got 120 million that maybe somebody else could have got 80 million and didn't take it.
Yeah.
That's life-changing money.
Yeah.
And if you took it, it was kind of understood that you're probably not going to be on the PGA Tour any longer.
Yeah.
So that, I think, has to be factored in terms of some kind of punishment, whether it's, as you said, suspension longer, or not for only a percentage of the purse, whatever. If that happens, I think, and the biggest thing is any sense that another live could emerge with that same kind of money because of the Saudi Arabian money fund they have, that's probably not going to happen again. And if the PGA Tour felt comfortable that wasn't going to happen again, I think it'd be easier to find some way to blend back those players.
Right. No, that's a good thought. Yeah, 120 million is a lot of money, Jaime. Almost as much as you make. You make, I know, a little bit more than that, probably, but
taxes are killing me, though. Yeah. No. Okay.
Anyway, so before I let you go, two things. What's on the horizon for you? I mentioned you were authored or co-authored a number of books. Number one, where could listeners find those books? And number two, do you have plans for a new book coming out, perhaps?
Well, they can find them on Amazon, I guess. You can find anything on Amazon.
Okay.
But no, books take a lot of focus, a lot of concentration. They're not cost effective usually, but they can be satisfying. Right now, I'm at Golf Channel. That's a full-time gig. I've enjoyed it. I wish I was better at television, but I hopefully am improving. And it's been a lot of fun. It's been a great opportunity.
Yeah.
I'm very lucky to be there. When that ends, hopefully I'll have enough marbles to still put a book together. Because there's things certainly that'll always remain interesting to me about the game.
Oh yeah.
And hopefully, I mean, I've seen that. There's some of my, I guess, heroes in writing kept writing a long time, and I hope I can too.
Yeah, I'm sure you can. So to wrap it up, Jaime, the rumor that you were considering doing a full feature article on me, that's not true, right?
No, I haven't discounted that. And now that I've been on the show, I'm more fascinated than ever. So thanks.
I love it.
Thank
You're
you
the best. All right, so when you coming out to Vegas?
Hey, Dennis, you'd be a good feature story. You would.
I appreciate that. So when you coming out to Vegas to play some golf with me?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe in retirement, but I'm from California. I did play some college golf in Vegas. And I've gone to the tournament many times. Next time I'll definitely look you up. I would love to. I'm sure you take me to Shadow Creek. You know what we could
absolutely
play there, 5 times. Yeah. Okay. No problem. Yeah.
Absolutely. Shadow Creek would be our first stop. Anyway, Jaime, it was so great having you on. Great information, and we would certainly love to have you back sooner than later because it was very, very enjoyable. We wish you nothing but the best. We'll look forward to seeing you on the Golf Channel, and it was great. Thank you so much.
I enjoyed it, Dennis. Nice meeting you, and hope to see you again. Thanks.
Thank you, Jaime. Jaime Diaz, everybody. Really, really nice man. All right, one more break. We'll come back. We'll wrap up the show. The revolutionary Power to Golf Club is helping golfers around the world continue to enjoy the greatest game of all. This amazing club requires no swing to hit shots from 50 up to 225 yards. That's right, no swing to hit shots, including fades, draws, low shots, as well as high ones. One incredible club does it all. Golfers with a wide variety of physical issues, including bad backs, hips, shoulders, and more, are now back in the game golfing with friends and family. Just set the club to the desired distance, and with a push of the button, the easy-to-use Power to Golf Club launches shots down the fairway and onto the green. The Power to Golf Club has been endorsed by some of the biggest names in golf, and the number of golfers enjoying the game by use of our unique technology continues to grow. Whether a physical issue or just want to join in on the fun, the Power to Golf Club is for you. Don't be left on the sidelines. Get back in the game today. Visit at powergolfclub.com. Hi, I'm Dennis Silvers, host of the 19th Hole Podcast for Golfers, and I'm here to tell you about some great wedges and putters from Grindworks USA. First, the Grindworks Barrett Collection Wedge Set. These wedges are unparalleled in today's market. The wedges come to you in 3 different lofts, 51, 57, and 61 degrees, all designed to be able to spin around the greens with the ability to hit high, middle, or low shots around the greens. Grindworks also makes a line of their Windsor Wells Precision Machine putters. This beautiful design of putter was not only created to be appealing to the eye, but to perform better on the greens. You will gain a ton of confidence to help lower your scores. Go to grindworksusa.com or call 281-651-4046. I promise your scores will love you for it. All right, everybody, that's going to wrap it up for this edition of the 19th Hole Podcast for Golfers. I'm Dennis Silvers. We want to thank our great guest, Jaime Diaz, and we're going to be back here same place, same time at Rigel Studios with another great show, so make sure you don't miss it. In the meantime, get out and play some golf and keep it in the short stuff. We'll see you back later. So long, everybody.